Knapp, and today I'll be walking you through my art jukebox musical. And this is my final project for this art class, and I'm so excited to be sharing it with you guys. So, first, let's just go over a quick overview. I titled my musical On the Other Coast, and there's four main characters: Maki, Azra, and Maki's two parents. Maki is the main protagonist, and Azra will play the role of Maki's love interest for this play. So let's get into it. The story outline: Maki is a young college aged man who comes from a Greek family which fled to America, fleeing ethnic cleansing at the hands of foreign adversaries. When Maki commits taboo in the eyes of his family and falls in love with a Turkish-American girl, he is faced with the difficult choice of choosing between satisfying the interests of his family or the interests of his heart. This musical explores themes of love and determination in the face of a generations-long struggle between races. So let's get into first how I composed this script. I actually wrote this story for a previous assignment, and I adapted it into script format. To do this, it's not as simple as you would think, because there's a lot of things that you can write in a short story that doesn't really translate well over to an actual script. Like, for instance, I didn't want to have a narrator, and I wanted everything to be kind of dialogue driven. And in a play, the audience then would have no way to know what's going on behind the scenes. So I'd either have to add increased dialogue or have characters act out their emotions in a more obvious way. So now let's get into how I chose the songs to include, which will go along with the overall progression of the story. So first we have scene 1, and Maki's sitting down at a lunch table after his Wednesday morning philosophy class, and he's really tired. And he meets this girl, and they actually bond over ethnic food that at first he's kind of embarrassed about. It turns out that in both of their cultures, they actually share the same dish, but they call it something different. And it's just a very cute moment, I thought, and that's why I chose to include Eternal Flame by the Bangles, and I just think it's a really sweet love song to include in this moment where they both, these two strangers, all of a sudden they click, they instantly click, and it's just a really sweet moment to watch. And next thing you know, they lose track of time, and he realizes he doesn't even know her name. She blushes, she smiles, and they part. And then we're on to scene 2 the next day. And I mean, I didn't want to show the progression of their relationship in too much detail, but I just wanted to get the idea across to the audience that these people are growing closer and closer. So I thought here would be a good time to input a montage. And the song that I wanted to highlight this was Suspicious Minds by Elvis Presley. I loved the speed of the song. I thought that the tempo really fit what I was trying to do here, which is kind of, I don't want to say rush it along, but I wanted to kind of catch the audience up to the idea that months had gone by and these people are growing closer and closer. Azra is helping Maki with calc, and Maki is in turn teaching Azra basic Greek. And they're just sharing their talents with one another, they're sharing their lives with one another, and they're getting to know each other. And all of a sudden, Maki pops the question, "Hey, I want to introduce you to my family. Would you like to spend Christmas with us?" Azra, of course, she's flattered, and she says, "Sure, sounds beautiful, I'd love to." And that takes us to scene 3. At Maki's house, Maki is sitting at the table with his mother and father, and they're giving him the talk. They're giving him a lecture. And the mother is really upset because Azra is a Turkish name, and this is where Maki's parents explain to him the harsh tensions that have historically gone on between the Turkish and the Greek people. They actually don't get along all too well. They've been at war for a very long time, and this is a conflict that goes back hundreds of years. And Maki is trying to explain to his mom, I understand, but this girl did not have anything to do with, uh, her ancestors. She had no control over what her ancestors did to the Greek people. She has nothing to do with the attempted genocide. She has nothing to do with all the wars that forced Maki's family over to travel to the United States. But Maki's parents are still conservative, they're still reluctant, and they won't have any of it. This leaves Maki depressed. This takes us to scene 4, which I think is one of the most emotional scenes in the entire play, and I really like it. So here we have Maki swaying back and forth along with the train car as the train goes through a tunnel, and we have him contemplating his life, and he's saying, well, I don't deserve this, I deserve better. And this is where I decided to include Everything I Wanted by Billie Eilish. For those of you who've heard her music, I mean, I thought that this song really fit. I think it's just, I don't want to call it a depressing song, but it captures how he's feeling in this moment. He feels misunderstood. He definitely feels misunderstood, and he's sitting here and he's reevaluating and he's thinking, well, what are my next steps going to be? And he finally decides that he has to bring this up with Azra. This is something that he cannot keep from her, and he needs her help to try to make sense of it all. And scene 5 begins, and he's rushing down the stairs, and he's in his school, and he's rushing to the cafeteria to meet Azra, to talk things out with her, and she only to find that she's already gone. He was too late. But he finds a note. He finds a note under the table in Greek, and Azra basically says to him that she's dealing with a similar situation at home, that how there's a lot of tension between their families, even though they've never met, just because of their ethnic background. And she basically breaks up with him and says, I can't be with you. This leaves Maki even more depressed, not just because of his family, but now it seems almost certain that he can't be with this girl that he clearly wants to be with. So this is when I thought that Blue Christmas should play, and well, it's because it's getting around Christmas time by now, and well, he's gonna have a blue Christmas without her. And he walks home in the snow, and that also presents a really emotional scene. And here we're at the final scene, scene 6, and Maki's mother shakes him awake, and she reveals that she found the note that Maki's girlfriend Azra wrote in Greek, and it really touches her, and it makes her realize that there's a lot more to people than just the surface, and race is a stupid thing to let get in the way of a real relationship. And they hug, and Maki's mother has a change of heart, and she invites Azra over for Christmas. And this is when I thought that would be good to finish with I'll Be Home for Christmas by Casey Musgraves. I thought that she has a beautiful voice to kind of end the play with on a nice note, and Azra is coming home for Christmas, and in a way Maki is also coming home to his family. They're reunified again, and they're able to now come back together in time for the holidays. And finally, I'd like to talk about the characters and how I chose their designs. So here are the characters. I drew inspiration from online, from people I know, and I liked how it came together. This is Azra. I picked her main defining color is pink. That of course highlights her femininity, but it also highlights her innocence here. She's we don't really hear much from her or her family in the play, but she's there, and like Maki, she doesn't really understand why these invisible obstacles are getting between them. Here's Maki's design, and I just drew him as a traditional kind of what I think a younger Greek guy would look like, and I his main defining characteristic is his pure white shirt. He doesn't like Azra. He's innocent and pure, and he doesn't understand why these old values are getting in the way of his current relationship. Now let's get over to Maki's father. Uh, in a stark contrast from Maki, we see him painted a little bit darker. He has brown and a beige cap, and this is to highlight his conservatism, his traditionalism, and how he kind of is used to a very different world where racial tension kind of it 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 controls their lives. This is why his father and his parents escaped from Greece to come to America. It was fleeing the Turkish, and he holds on to those values and are projecting it onto his son in this story. Here we have Maki's mother, and I decided that a color that would well suit her is red or orange. This is a very passionate color. It shows that there's a lot more to her. Yes, she is conservative, it is true, but she also has this change of heart, and in a way I think that that's very bold, and I want to highlight that because it does take a lot to get over or swallow these older ideas, these very passionate feelings that their family has held for generations, and I thought that that is something that that should define her. And these are all four characters together. I hope you enjoyed my short story. I really enjoyed making it, and I'm glad to have taken this class. Thank you.